Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. I'm Tasha, your host of Tasha Journeys. We are episode 12. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you hit that like button. I started this year off with going live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I've been doing just that. So if you're stumbled upon this channel from a share from Facebook feed or YouTube, I go live every Sunday talking about finances or travel because the goal here is for you to build a positive net worth so you can live out your financial freedom dreams like I did. I traveled the world solo for 13 months after building a nice positive net worth and my financial freedom path. So today is all about accounting tips for entrepreneurs. And if you didn't know, I am a CPA, but this is all for educational purposes. My little disclaimer out here, this is not to be taken as advice for you to use. So just if you need to get some tips from me, I will drop that information in later on in the live. And if y'all hear this noise right now, stop, Scully. Scully is my one of my cats who be acting a fool. So you may see him, you may see him pop up behind me, or you may hear this stupid noise because he's playing with his toy. So hey Ruth, hey Tanya, and if you're coming in and you're watching, make sure not only hitting that like button, but show me some love in the comment section. Your engagement, whether you make a comment, just saying hi, or during the live or the replay, because I love my replay game too. It helps this video get out to more video viewers who may be interested in this type of content. So let's get into today's topic, which is general accounting tips. So all the time, literally all the time, when I say that I work in accounting, I'm usually asked about taxes or just general tips for business owners. So I figured I will cover that today. And if you have any specific questions for me, I'm going to drop my phone number in the chat so you can text your questions to this number. So every first Sunday, I go live. Um, well, I go live every Sunday, but I answer any questions you may have. So if you send me DMs and you have like, oh, I just want to ask you this quick question, I don't answer quick questions in my DMs. I'll answer them here and then I'll shoot you a response back on the text letting you know, like, hey, I'm going to answer your question on like whatever episode it is. So you can text this number any questions you may have. If you want to work with me one on one, I can send you my booking link as well. But sliding in my DMs, I'm not really active on social media, so this is the best way to get your questions to me. All right. So, first things first is keep your personal and business financials separate. Stop. Like, I feel like I would be doing that a lot in the live. I'm sorry if I'm yelling and busting your eardrums out, but Scully is really acting out today. He's getting on my last nerve. But anyway, keep your personal and business financials separate. And this may sound like very simple, but this is the common mistake that people make of not having a true business account separate from their personal account. And if they do, not commingling funds. And what that means is you are not using your personal debit card or your personal credit card to buy materials for your business. I know this can happen if you're out and you're like, oh, I don't have that card on me, but it should not be a habit to the point when you get to the end of the year or when you're meeting with your accountant monthly, it's a scramble to try to figure out how much did you really spend on your business expenses. So first thing is to keep in mind is trying to create a system to keep your personal and your business financials separate. I also want to just point out here too that a lot of people are looking for an actual CPA when they get started with their business. A solid bookkeeper is really where you want to start. So your bookkeeper is going to make sure that you are tracking your expenses, tracking your income appropriately, and keeping receipts and all of that, which I'll get to later on in the live. And make sure you stick around until the end because I will touch on QuickBooks and like FreshBooks, those accounting systems that every entrepreneur feels that they must have when they first get started out. I'll go over some pros and cons of those systems as well. But it all comes back to keeping things separate between your business and your personal accounts. And also, if you are watching this and you're like, okay, do I have a business or not? Because that is a question that people may ask themselves. Because if you get a 1099, I'm going to tell you, and if you're not like an Uber driver or a Lyft or you do a gig economy, the IRS is going to tax that money. So there's been big legislation that's passed in the last few years that if you get like $600 or more in Zelle or Venmo or PayPal, that they're automatically going to send 1099s to you because they may deem it as business. That really hasn't shaped up just yet. But if you know let's say you do tutoring services or whatever, and you get a 1099 from a company or a business, you need to watch this live because you need to figure out ways to offset the income that you're getting from people for people or other businesses because you technically are a business, you are a sole proprietor and you don't even realize it. So this live is for you. And I want to first start, well, secondly, I want to talk about having a business bank account. So I talked about keeping your personal and your business finances separate. One good way to do that is have a business bank account. To open up an account, you need to have an EIN, and you can get this for free. You do not have to pay a company or a service to get an EIN or to set up your LLC. But I'm not going to talk about business formation at all on here. I'm not an attorney. I can speak to it, but I just want to focus on like accounting and bookkeeping for the purposes of this live. Business bank account is a must in my opinion because it's a good way to have all your income and your expenses coming out of one place. So you need an EIN and you apply for that online with the IRS, and you will need to pick your bank that you want to open your account at. And I suggest that when entrepreneurs, small business owners are just getting started out, I'm in Michigan, so I'm going to be naming some Michigan banks or credit unions. But I always suggest that you start with a credit union or a small local bank. And the reason is because they're usually more generous on fees and like your maintenance requirements for the account. So the minimum at a credit union or a local bank is going to be, hey Tasha, it's going to be lower than if you were to go to a big bank like Bank of America or Chase. I do not recommend if you're just getting started to open up your business account unless you have a lot of money flowing in, which is great for you. Kudos. I just don't recommend that when you're just getting started out because it's going to be a lot of fees if you don't keep a certain amount. It's going to be the monthly maintenance fee on there. And also, when it comes time to maybe needing a business loan, it's going to be harder to get it from the big banks than a smaller bank or a credit union. So if you're in Michigan or Midwest, like a local bank would be Flagstar Bank, Key Bank. Those banks are really good for small business owners. In credit unions, you have people-driven credit union. There's been a lot of credit union changes recently, but like a credit union or a local bank, like I mentioned, is going to be good. First Independence Bank as well. They're a black-owned bank and they're a local bank. So I suggest that you look at opening an account there versus a bigger bank. Hey, child free with Mimi. I thought you said you was gonna change your name. Nah, I was watching that live with you on Thursday. So let me know what that new name of your channel is going to be, or if you're still thinking about it. And I did love that live with you and HND abroad on Thursday. I feel like that was forever ago. But bank account suggestions again, opening up a bank open up a bank account for your business. You will need an EIN. You will need your business formation paperwork if you have an LLC, or if you did a DBA, whatever that is, you will need that information when you go to open up your business bank account. The next thing, and if you have any questions as I'm going through this, again, while you're on the live, make sure you drop them in the chat and hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Hit the like and go ahead, share this video on Facebook so I can get this information out to more people. The next thing I want to cover is making sure that you have a cloud-based system. So this can be um, Google Drive. It can be Outlook if you use OneDrive or Dropbox, but you need to have a cloud-based system, and don't be cheap. Don't just get the free version like with Google. I think we get 15 gigabytes or something. Go ahead and buy like the plan. If you have Apple, just buy the plan that's like a $2 a month or whatever, to make sure you have this dedicated to your business. Like, you should have a business email anyway, whether you use just your business name at Gmail, or if you use your website domain with the email. You need to have a separate cloud-based system for your business that is not with your personal. So if you're going shopping for things, you can have those receipts being sent to your business email, and you can set it up better for cloud-based monthly folders. This is key. I recommend you have this if you don't even get QuickBooks or any accounting software. It's like just paying the $2 a month to have the extra storage, to be able to set up your monthly folders to capture, or I should say, to save your receipts and your monthly statements. So again, if you're just joining this live, if you receive a 1099, this video is for you. If you're thinking about starting a business, this video is for you. And my fellow YouTubers, if you're monetized and you are getting little checks, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a baby YouTuber. I love all my subscribers. Thank y'all for being here. But it's baby money right now for me. I'm gonna get this money up from YouTube soon. But let me tell you, I'm going to be getting 1099 from Google next year because they are cutting me a check. So guess what? I'm tracking my expenses, right? So even if you're doing YouTube and you're on the path for monetization, this is helpful for you to consider as well, right? And I just watched I cannot think of her channel right now, but she just went viral, and she has like 50,000 subscribers, and it just happened overnight. Her video went viral, and within a week she was monetized. She was getting partner sponsorship, brand deals, and all of that. So that could be you. So you want to make sure you set up for all of that when it happens. So having a cloud-based folders, what I mean is, once you have your Google Drive set up, or if you are using um, the cloud service with Apple, you want to set a folder for every month of the year. So January, February, March, and so on and so forth, to have, because this is where you're going to put your receipts first and foremost. When you're shopping for your business, you should be just take a picture of the receipt. Whenever I'm buying stuff for my whatever business I have, I'm taking a receipt at that time and just uploading it to my drive. I use Outlook for everything, for my business emails and everything. It's all with Outlook. So I use OneDrive for everything. So I'm just uploading it to OneDrive in the moment. And if I buy something off Amazon for my business, even though that receipt is going to my email, I just screenshot it anyway and I drop it in the cloud. It's just important for organization purposes. And even if you do have an accounting software like QuickBooks, a lot of people feel like, okay, I have this software, I'm taking pictures and I'm putting it in that system. If you decide to cancel your subscription for whatever reason, all your documents is with QuickBooks. You can download them all, but it's not going to be organized and it's going to be a mess. So again, you need to create systems, whether you pay for an accounting software system or not. You need to have this set up on your own. So the next thing under the cloud-based monthly folders you should have is your monthly bank statements, because we already talked about you opening up your business bank account. Every month, you should be downloading your monthly statements. And I'm not gonna lie, I was not good with this until I actually hired a bookkeeper. And I actually hired an account CPA and a bookkeeper for myself, like for real estate, just because it got to be too much to try to handle on my own. And even though I know how to do it, no, delegation is key. And because I know how to do it, I was getting a little lazy and I wasn't downloading my monthly statements. And now that I do not do that for myself in my businesses, it's definitely happening. You can give user access to other people. I don't do that. I download all my statements. So every month I can see my bank statements, and I know my receipts for the month are all in one place. And even if you're just watching it now, start doing it. It's March, because I'm telling you, when the end of the year come and you start thinking about tax time, you're gonna be feeling overwhelmed and like, oh my God, this is too much. Hey, Sugar Money. Hey, Jackie. Okay. Let me see what you said. So, side note. So, I love my fellow YouTube community that has found me, and I found them on YouTube. We be getting so much information from each other. Okay. All right. You decide to keep it. Okay. And listen, if you change your mind, you free to do that too. Like, I think that was the main takeaway from that live you did with D. Um, yes, do it. Like, you need to have control over all of your documents. So yes, so let me back up a little bit. Cloud-based storage, you want to have subfolders for monthly statements. You can tell I'm such an accountant because how I even do the lives and just this organization and structure. Listen, I'll be feeling like, oh my God, it has to be like this. I'm telling y'all, if you don't take nothing away from this live, you better do that. I also want to point out, if are not you don't have your business fully started yet, I have a free checklist for you to download. I did this a while ago, but it still applies. Go ahead and go to this website here, biz.financialgarden.com, and get your free business checklist, because some of the stuff I cover in here, not all, is on the checklist. All right, so I'll just keep that showing. I can't figure out how to get the ticker going, but all right. It was something else I wanted to cover under cloud base. I didn't click. All right. So I'm gonna jump to the next topic, which is business credit. Let me create a banner for this real quick. All right. So business credit. This is a very controversial topic, I feel like, for entrepreneurs, because there's so much misinformation on the internet streets about business credit. And a few years ago, I decided to bring in a personal banker from my credit union to come and talk at my church. Because side note, if you are in the Detroit area and you looking for a church home, I'm just going to shout out my church out right now, Kingdom Covenant Church. We on the east side, and even though I've been slacking because I was traveling the world for a minute, but I'm over the financial ministry. And so I will put on quarterly events, or I should say, will put on quarterly events. And I decided to bring in the banker I worked with for my business, because there's so much misinformation out there. And getting business credit that you hear, I'm just going to say this: if you think that you can get $500,000 in business credit cards, or $100,000 with Navy Federal, or $10,000 with Navy Federal, whatever it is, and you don't have income, just think about that for a minute. That doesn't even make sense, right? Either you're going to be personally guaranteeing that debt, or they're going to snatch it because you are behind the scenes being told to lie on those forms, right? So business credit is something that you can get established once you have your EIN, first and foremost. And I recommend that you start with Chase business credit cards, because I like them, because they do not they tend, depending on your business and what you have, your structure, how much income you have coming in, they tend not to do personal guarantee on your credit, on the credit cards. That means that when you pull your personal credit, your business credit cards won't show with Chase. Also, I do like that. So I have several businesses, and I do use Chase. You can maneuver your credit lines between businesses too, when you need to. So that came in handy for me, with using Chase. This is not sponsored by Chase, but let's just go ahead and claim that in the future it will be sponsored by Chase. So this is I'm not this video is not sponsored. So any names that I'm dropping is just purely from personal experience or from me or friends, family, whatever, or past clients that I've worked with. So business credit, I just want to reiterate, like, um, if you think you can just go ahead and get a hot business credit line because you get a business address and you open up a line of credit, or not a line of credit, you start ordering business supplies with like Uline or whatever, you're going to get all this credit, that is misinformation. And people hate when I say that. But back to my original point on when I brought in the banker at my church. I brought her in because this is a person who gave me a business loan. So let's actually have someone who's making these decisions daily in the community really tell people what they need to have. And it was really good. And a lot of people were like, wow, so a lot of stuff I'm seeing on YouTube, y'all don't even need it. That doesn't even matter. This Nope. She was like, nope, 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 no, it doesn't. Like, she was saying that she gets so many people coming in with wrong information. So it varies by institution. If you are established business and you want to know more about business credit, I would say you should start with the bank you're banking with. And hopefully it's a local bank or credit union because they are more advantageous to give you a business loan. And just ask them what the requirements are so you can start preparing for it, even if you don't need it now. But if you need it in the future, when you start getting employees and you start running payroll and you need a line of credit to pull from, to make sure payroll goes through, because cash flow issues happen all the time. It's really important to know that process. You don't want to learn what it takes to get a business loan, from your credit union or bank when you actually need it. You want to know and prepare before then. And I had something else in my notes about business credit. Let me see. I know I recommended Chase for getting credit cards. It's a good way to establish your business credit. And I didn't put this on here, but I'm having a brain fog right now. But you can, your EIN is basically your social security number. So you can check your business credit report. Why am I not thinking of the freaking bureaus? But I have to come back to that because I'm having a brain fog and I just want to move on. You are welcome. When I rewatch this live, I'm gonna be like, you did not know the name of that? I didn't have it in my notes, and I'm telling y'all, once you hit the live button, certain things it's just like escape your mind. The next thing I want to bring up is, I don't want to make this a ticker. Um, is when you have those cash flow issues. So I'm talking about business credit, but when you are running low on cash for your expenses, right? Like maybe you are waiting for a big contract to come through, you're waiting for a big sales week or whatever. There are times where you are going to have to use your own money sometimes. And the biggest mistake that people do, I mentioned this in the beginning of the live, is they'll just use their personal debit card or personal credit card to get what they need. When you do that, you tend to forget that you did it because it's not coming from your business account or whatever. And then it's like, okay, then I'm just going to use my business credit card or business debit card to make it up for it, to kind of cancel it out. No, that's not accounting. You need to write your business a actual check, or you may want to Zelle or PayPal your actual business and put in the memo, this is a loan to the business. So when the cash flow comes back, you can write a check back to yourself from the business. This is key of what I'm saying about making sure that you keep your business and your personal finances separate. So again, you starting out, there's a cash flow gap or whatever. Make sure you are writing an actual check to your business and reimbursing yourself from the business, right? If you were to get audited from the IRS and you do not have this structure set up, they may deem that your business is not legally a business from in the eyes of the IRS. So, commingling business and personal funds is a surefire way for the IRS if you were to get audited and be like, this is a hobby, this is not a business. So, make sure you do that. If nothing else, yes. Um, for personal, don't Dun and Bradstreet is what I was thinking of for business. So there is business credit for these three bureaus as well. And I actually called well, when I was talking to my bank, and I asked, hey, what bureau are you pulling from to see if my business qualifies for this loan? And I was like, are you looking at Dun and Bradstreet? She was like, no, we look at another exchange. So this is what I mean about, it's really important who you bank with as a small business, because you want them to cut you a check. And when you talk to the banker, you get to know what you will need and what they're looking at to be able to get the credit. So yes, the three bureaus, they do. uh I don't know if all three bureaus have a business credit line. I mean, business credit thing. I think only two of them, but for sure, Dun and Bradstreet. Let me Google this because I feel like I'm lying, and I want to make sure that yes, because I was about to say another business that was in my head. DNB. Yes. See what I mean? Brain fog. Can't even say fog, right? Um, that is typically the business standard for granting business credit. So again, it's so important to know if you're planning on getting business credit, whether it's a credit card or a loan, how these institutions are really, what they're really looking at to approve you to get credit. I'm really tongue tied today, y'all. All right, so if you have any questions about that, make sure you drop them in the chat. Other thing is 1099 versus employees. If you let's say you are going to have a food truck, um, and you need people to work the food truck, I really recommend that you work with an accountant, like a CPA or an EA, because there is a checklist that will tell you whether this person that you are going to be hiring should be considered an employee or a 1099 contractor. A lot of businesses will try to say everybody's a 1099 contractor because it's easier and you don't have to run a payroll system and you don't have to set up like Michigan. I'm saying Michigan because I'm in Michigan. You don't have to set up state taxes, and it's a whole thing besides behind setting up a payroll system. So it's always easier to just 1099 everyone, but that could be a red flag to the IRS. If you have high revenue and you have no employees, it's like, okay, everybody's 1099. It makes you like more likely to be audited from the IRS just because it's not making sense in trends, right? So when people get audited from the IRS, it's based on irregular, like abnormalities between your past history and compared to people that look like you in that makeup. So if you are a business that will be hiring people, it's really good to know whether they're employees or should they be considered 1099. And another thing that there's a misconception about uh, making the election to have your company, your LLC, if you have an LLC, making it an S corp for tax purposes. Again, I really suggest that you go ahead, pay the money, have a consultation with a CPA that specializes in that. I do not specialize in S corps or S corp elections or payroll or anything like that. You want to make sure that a CPA you work with, they do this. They're not starting off doing this. They know this. They true to this, because you do not want to get in a sticky situation with the IRS if you're getting audited. Guess what? I've been audited and I knew my ish, and so I was good. But that's not the case for everyone. right? So again, that is a common thing, and that falls under accounting and finance just because usually that would be your biggest expense is your labor in your business. So you want to make sure that you are handling that correctly. And let me see. I think I covered all the points I wanted to cover for accounting, but now I want to talk about fresh books or quick. I'm just going to talk about QuickBooks. And if you should have it or not, it's subjective, right? It's up to you. But usually if you want to have QuickBooks online for your business, it's like $30 a month. Or you could catch a special and it could be half that or whatever. But let's just say it's going to be, if you are an entrepreneur, you can get like a solopreneur plan, or you can have the whole QuickBooks Online plan, and it's going to be between $15 and $30 a month. And then you have different tiers, right? And it's always a question of like, should I have it set up or do I really need it? It depends. That's going to be my answer for everything. Most accountants say it just depends, because it depends on how your revenue, are you consistent in your business? Are you a full-time entrepreneur versus you keep picking it up, putting it down, whether it makes sense to have that system or not. My biggest gripe with QuickBooks is like the convenience of linking your business account. So let's just say you have a checking account and you have a business credit card. You can link that to QuickBooks. And so every time you swipe or use your card, whether it's on your credit card or your bank, it pulls in those transactions, right? So this is setting you up to have financial statements. So this means you may hear P&L, which is profit and loss, or an income statement. So it's setting you up to be able to run these key reports in your balance sheet. So balance sheet and P&L are the main statements that you need when you do your taxes if you are a business owner, and or if you want to get any type of business funding. They're going to want to see these type of reports. And so it's like, okay, I'll just have this system and it does everything for me. This is where a good bookkeeper comes into play. Just because it's bringing in the transactions, you have to know what to do with it. So having your transactions just sit in QuickBooks and you don't do anything with it. And I just had this conversation with an entrepreneur yesterday. If you have it just sitting there, you're paying a monthly fee, you're wasting your money, because you could just have it sitting. You can have all those transactions in your bank statement from your bank account, and you can pull those in. I also want to go back to one point that I said about the monthly statement. I didn't mention this part. Make sure that you're downloading your bank credit card statements in PDF format and Excel CSV every month, because if you have this information downloaded in both these formats, you can hire someone to be able to create your financial statements in like 2 minutes. Like for me, even if I log in, download all your bank account information, I'm going to be able to create these statements I'm telling you about within an hour, depending on the complexity of your business, just by knowing the transaction and loving and knowing Excel like the back of my hand, right? So that's my point in whether you need QuickBooks or not. If you have a bookkeeper, they may require you to have QuickBooks because it does make everything easy and make more sense. But if you find yourself right now, it's March. If you find yourself and you're like, I didn't track anything from last year, going in and rolling and getting QuickBooks is not going to help you for last year. It's my point. If you want to start off for this year, it may make more sense. But if you have this system where you have your bank accounts and you're downloaded in PDF and CSV format, PDF is what it sounds like, and CSV is just an Excel format. So if you're like, what the heck are you talking about with CSV? I mean Excel. Downloading in those formats is any bookkeeper or accountant can create your financial statements from that information. So that's what, again, going back to having those cloud-based monthly folders, you're setting yourself up for success. But I'm just going to go back to talking about QuickBooks. Um, if you Yeah. So if you don't know bookkeeping, yes, you can watch tutorials, you can get help from um Their support staff, I don't recommend it. You can go on Fiverr and find a bookkeeper. You can go on Upwork and find a bookkeeper. It's all, again, all about investing in your business, right? So if you are bringing in thousands of dollars a month in revenue, you need to just go ahead and add that line item expense in having a true bookkeeper do this, um, or an accountant, because it goes a long way. Because if you get audited, you're gonna be scrambling and you're gonna be like, OMG, I should have paid the money back then. So another thing, I was talking about the accounts being linked. So it pulls in your transactions. But my biggest gripe with QuickBooks is that it won't refresh and it won't pull in all your transactions. So it's like sometimes you still have to manually upload those monthly statements I was telling you about. You have to upload that Excel file into QuickBooks because the system doesn't pick it up, right? So in the early stages and you don't have that many transactions, meaning like you don't have a whole lot of revenue coming in consistently every month, you don't have a whole lot of expenses every month, it may not make sense to have QuickBooks. Having that monthly cloud system set up, and then um, just paying the extra money to have whoever's preparing you, doing your tax return, if they do accounting, having them do your financial statements may make the most sense. Because if you don't know QuickBooks, that's another job in itself, um, unless you are going to hire a bookkeeper in QuickBooks. So hopefully that makes sense. If you're watching this on the replay, let me know if you have any questions about anything I'm saying, because the accounting part is always where people get really they just avoid it in the business. They're like, I'm making money, so I'm not going to worry about it. But it's really important to know this side of things. I don't like marketing in my business. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I do not even like being on social media outside of being on YouTube. So guess what? I have to hire someone to help me figure out how to do that, right? Because I hate it. It's not my strong suit. I do know accounting, but I have too many things going on to actually do my own accounting, right? So it's all about, you will get that return on your investment. So I talked about, I don't like how, going back to QuickBooks, I talked about how I don't like that the transactions don't always interface with the system. That sucks. I also talked about how it can be overwhelming for you to understand how to use QuickBooks, um, if you don't have any bookkeeping or accounting background. The tutorials are there, but I really recommend, if you're going to have QuickBooks and you're not comfortable, hiring a bookkeeper at least for a few months to get the hang of it, for them to establish your accounts, right? To know, like, oh, I'm going to use the example of real estate. Um, Buying paint, is that job supplies, or should I put that under general expenses? Like these things, like there's so many accounts in QuickBooks, and then you have to make sure you're consistent on how you identify these expenses, right? So it's so important to hire someone that knows how to at least set you up in QuickBooks. If you're going to DIY it, you need to pay someone to begin. And I'm not that person. I do not do bookkeeping. I'm just letting you know that's my suggestion for you. Where QuickBooks does come into why I like QuickBooks, I'll talk about the things I do like about QuickBooks. Even though the interfaces suck sometimes with the accounts, once you get everything established with your general accounts, like your account ledger, it really is helpful to be able to look year over year. So I can see, how did I do in 2020 compared to 2023? I can get my statements ran. If I want to make any adjustment from prior accounting years, I can do that in the system. It's a really good audit trail. Being audited, it came in handy for different things in QuickBooks, but I know how to use QuickBooks, so that's the difference, right? So it sets you up, but once you get QuickBooks, you need to keep it. But I'm going to use QuickBooks and FreshBooks interchangeably. You need to keep the subscription to be able to have these benefits, right? So you can toggle from year over year. You can compare and see, outside of just a bookkeeping, you can compare and see, like, okay, how am I doing this January to March compared to January to March in 2021? You can run different reports and analysis. And you can also like compare cash flow which is something that a bank may require if you're going out for lending. So QuickBooks is good for reporting, having historical data, having a set system on how you're going to categorize various expenses under your business. And also, if you do have contractors, you can run your 1099s out of QuickBooks. So that's very helpful. 1099, you have to issue this if you have a contractor working in your business and you pay them over $600. You need to issue them a 1099, or you can be penalized from the IRS. So if you have QuickBooks, you can do this. QuickBooks also has a payroll system in there. So there's a lot of things that it makes it a whole business suite. So there are a lot of benefits to QuickBooks. I just, again, starting out, you need help, hire somebody. So let me go back through my notes. I think I hit everything that I wanted to hit as far as common things I wanted to point out. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I think I think I'm set. I'm gonna stay on for a couple of minutes just to see if I have any questions, because I always say this, like right when I hit end stream, I'll see a couple questions pop in and I'm like, dang, I wish I would have saw that while I was live. And again, replay game, make sure you drop in your questions as well, because I always go back through and answer questions um that I receive. So when I'm looking through my notes, I covered everything. I'll just tell like a a banking story to as far as like with loans. Like one of the reasons I was able to get a business loan, and it's unique in getting a, it's not even a loan, it was a mortgage for one of my rental properties in my business name. So that's pretty hard to do when you're not commercial and you're not set up. Like this was my second property I was getting. And one of the reasons I was able to get the mortgage in my business name was because of the relationship that I had established with the credit union. So if I would have had and I did start and go to like these other credit unions. I was a part of Bigger Pockets community, and so like I was in the Michigan group, and I was like seeing the banks that they recommended that would do this. None of that worked. I'm like, that was a lie. Um, so I went to my credit union, and they're like, okay, yeah. Do you want us to do an in-person appraisal, or you want to just cut the check? I'm like, cut the check. We don't got to do an in-person appraisal because of the numbers that I wanted and where I was looking at, right? So my point is, like, having that relationship with that credit union. I had like a loan through them previously. I was satisfactory on that loan. I had like solid W-2s of steady income that they wanted to see. So I had no problem getting that, right? So my point in bringing that up is, like, even if you're involved in different Facebook groups or different forums for whatever industry you're in, those tips, they can be helpful, but it may not apply to you in your specific situation. So it goes all the way back to my first point in, like, it's really important on where you have your accounts established, that can help you in the long run. And I recommend that people go to that credit union. It's now changed now, the names and the structure of it. But I just wanted to share that because I didn't have to. They didn't look at Dun and Bradstreet at all. That was not one of their um, qualifiers for you to get approved for to get business credit. Because even though it's a mortgage, it's still a loan. It's still business credit. So that was something I just wanted to share with y'all. Thank you, Mimi. And again, if you want to get my business checklist, it's free. Just go ahead and go to that website, just drop your name and email, and it'll go to your inbox. Um, and I don't see any other questions or comments. I want to leave y'all with this. Make sure, if you, even on the replay game, any business questions that you have for accounting, make sure you shoot them to this number, or any financial questions in general. We've been talking about positive net worth, paying off debt. I know I still owe y'all a video on a debt snowball. Your girl been busy. I'm going to get that video out soon. You can shoot any of those questions about finances or travel, text this number. And I will be answering them first Sunday. So this is it for episode 12. I will be back next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time talking about Q2 financial goals. Now, I gave y'all some great Q1 financial goals, but guess what? We are at the end. It's March 17th. So in preparation before Q2 starts, I want to tell y'all what I think y'all goals should be, what I'm working on a little bit. Y'all know I don't really share my financial business for real on YouTube, but I'll give you a glimpse into like some aspirations I'm working on to align with what I think you should. Q1 goals, we started it with no spend January. April 1st, if you took the savings challenge, you should be $500, $1,000 by April 1st. And I did a whole video on how to increase your credit score by 40 points in 3 months. So if you really stuck to it, you should be like, okay, I really saw progress. If you only hit one of those goals, it's still financial progress because if you started off the New Year's resolution, which I don't believe in resolutions, of I'm going to do better financially in 2024. I literally was specific with y'all on what y'all could do and how to get there in Q1, and I'm going to do the same thing in Q2. And it will be for sure an investing one on there. And I got a special guest coming the last Sunday, which is on Easter of the month. So stay tuned for that because I haven't had anyone on. I don't think I've had anyone on since I started Tasha Journeys live. So make sure y'all staying active on my YouTube community page, and I will see y'all next Sunday at 7. Bye.